All right, this is another live look there at Dallas Love Field this afternoon. This time we're taking you inside. Of course, the main tenant there, Southwest Airlines, the Dallas-based airline, sharing details of a major overhaul today with investors. Now, some of these changes you've heard about, some are new though. Southwest switching to assigned seats now, offering some extra leg room for an upcharge on those seats, and it's starting red-eye flights as well and cutting 16 cities from its service list out of Atlanta. All of this happening on what they call Investor Day, as a major investment group is pushing for change at the top of the company. Joining us to talk more about this is Will Anderson, the editor-in-chief of the Dallas Business Journal. Thanks so much for being here with us today, Will.
Of course.
So these are huge changes. I mean, anybody who's watched what Southwest has done over the past several years can tell you that this is a lot of activity happening in a pretty compressed period of time. There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pivotal moment for Southwest Airlines, and really for Bob Jordan, CEO, who's spent the last 2+ years kind of taking the reins. And now Southwest executives acknowledge that the financial performance really hasn't lived up to expectations. So they're instituting some cost cutting, the operational changes that you just alluded to. There's a lot of change happening at this airline right now.
So they're acknowledging that things haven't been so great with the stock price. We've also heard that from a hedge fund manager, Elliott Investment Management, which has a big stake now in Southwest Airlines and has been really shaking things up and driving some change, as you can do when you have a certain percentage of a company's shares. You can force a lot of change to happen.
Yeah, they have an 11% stake now. So they actually have said that they want to call a special meeting of shareholders to vote on things like replacing even more of the board. They built that up, buying billions of dollars worth of Southwest shares over the past few months. Changes at Southwest, though, go back even farther. I mean, executives say that these plans have been in the works for a while, and the share price has been on the decline for kind of on a downward trend for 3 years or so. So it's been in the works longer than that, but now it's all coming to a head. And as I said, Bob Jordan and the executive team, it's up to them now to bear down, see if they can realize some of these changes and affect change, or whether the activist investors will be able to sway shareholders.
And they say that they've been involved in this for a while, coming up with these different changes for the airline, that this hasn't necessarily been driven by this hedge fund investor in the company. Do you get the sense, though, that management is scrambling a little bit here to try to get in front of anything that this big stakeholder will ask for?
I think really it's an interesting look at the communication strategy, right? Because Elliott, which is an activist investor, does this with lots of companies, buys large stakes. They put out press releases. Southwest has to respond. So they kind of go back and forth and try to see who can claim credit. But in the end, I mean, Southwest executives say, yes, these changes have been in the works for a while. But Elliott can certainly take some credit for, bringing about some change at the airline.
Yeah, Elliott has basically said that they'd like that special meeting that you were talking about. They've accused Southwest of being reckless and chaotic in their actions, the leaders there, in an attempt to preserve their jobs. This has gotten kind of ugly, the back and forth here. And Bob Jordan, the CEO of Southwest today, said that the firm, Elliott, has demonstrated little or no interest in collaborating with Southwest and instead focused on gamesmanship. So it seems like there's some pretty sharp wording going back and forth between them.
Yeah, and they go back and forth, but that's what you expect them to say. They're not going to be best friends when they're trying to remove, you from your job as CEO. So it's kind of par of the course, especially with an activist investor that comes in unwanted and tries to buy up shares and enforce change. But it doesn't reduce the fireworks.
So let's talk about the head count here, because this is a huge employer here in North Texas. Obviously, there's some talk of some significant numbers. I mean, it's not a small number.
No, I think the number was they're going to have, by the end of the year, have 2,000 fewer headcount across the company. So that can happen through attrition. They say they're going to slow hiring levels. Overall, I think the top line or the bottom line number is reducing expenses by about $500 million. So that doesn't come about just from small changes. There will be significant changes at the airline, and that could result in quite a smaller headcount.
And Southwest is also buying back a lot of its shares. It's going to enter into this partnership with Iceland Air and extend its international reach here. Investors seem to like what they're seeing. The stock really popped early today. It ended up about 5-6%, something like that.
Right.
So they got a bump out of this. I guess the balance here is you got to keep the investors happy, and you also have to keep customers happy. And there's a risk of doing too much too quickly and turning off those loyal customers.
Yeah, that's true. That's the fine balance you have to walk as a public company CEO. The share price did jump up today, which I'm sure is welcome news if you're a shareholder. Probably some of that is attributable to the fact that they're going to buy back $2.5 billion shares. So you'd like to own there's a lot of attention on those shares right now. But yeah, that's a fine line to walk, and it remains to be seen just how much changes will end up helping Southwest. But executives seem pretty confident that they've picked the right path, and now that they need to execute.
Last note here on the subject of keeping those customers in that bucket over there happy in all of this. We did notice that Bob Jordan did say that there's no plan at this point to get rid of those 2 free bags that you get.
Yeah, I mean, Southwest has changed other things that they're known for recently. So some observers have wondered long term what's going to happen to that. But right now, bags fly free.
That's a big differentiator, too. Will Anderson, great piece there in the Dallas Business Journal. Great to be partners with you all and great to have you on with us.
Thanks so much.
Really appreciate it.